Good afternoon, good evening, good morning everyone, wherever you are in the world. Welcome along to the beautiful sunny day on the beach in Suffolk. It is lovely and sunny. The mist is coming from somewhere off the water. It's just absolutely stunning down here today. Nice and warm, absolutely beautiful day. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me on my walk along the beach where no one is because everyone's too scared to be out. So welcome to Suffolk. If it's your first time here, welcome along. This is what you can expect from this channel, me having a walk along in a beautiful location such as where I am today on the beach, and just talking about different subjects that are influencing the world as we experience it today. So welcome to those people that are new here. Great to have you here. And great to have you along, and for those people that have subscribed and have come back and joined me again for another walk, thank you so much. I have crossed the 200 subscribers mark. I can't believe that there's so many people that are subscribed and are eager to hear my viewpoint on what I think is happening at the moment. Welcome along, welcome back all of you, and I'm humbled. Thank you so much for all the love and the messages and the subscribes. It fills me with a lot of hope and a lot of joy that I'm not alone, and neither are you, and that's we should take that with us. And it's not a bad thing to question the narrative that we're all fed on a daily basis that is sold to us as ultimate truth. And as we well know, truth is subjective. So today I'm going to continue in my series of little talks that I've done up until now, and today's subject is globalism. Globalism. There's been a lot of talk about globalism from many angles, from many people. There's as anyone who's watched my channel would know, I'm an investor in digital assets, mostly XRP, and one of the executives at the company Ripple who created XRP, uses XRP. Sorry, I should put it that way. There's a guy called Chris Larsen. And he likes to talk about the fourth industrial revolution, and globalism isn't a bad thing. But is it? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? So I think first of all we have to examine, let's just take the benefits of what globalism could offer and why it could be seen as a good thing, and then we'll tackle who's involved and what direction they'd like to take globalism in, and whether that's going to be of benefit to society or whether it's going to be a detriment. So the benefits, as we're told, of globalism would be that if you live in a small village in Africa and you're producing jewellery, for instance, and you want to market that to the world, then globalism means that essentially there's no borders of trade and movement. So you could sell your jewellery internationally, and with globalization of money, you can be paid instantly anywhere in the world, and ship your goods anywhere. So you could sell your jewelry online, and with the cell phones nowadays, with mobile telephones, you could market your jewelry online through your mobile. You could sell it online, take payments online, and ship it to the world, and you could have a business that you could run from your small village in Africa. Wonderful. Or not just Africa, we're talking about anywhere in the world. You could have your business go global, which means you have global reach for your business. Pretty wonderful, right? Now, where do I see the impediments of globalization? As we've seen in the last year, hang on a minute, I'm going to get taken out by the water. As we've seen in the last year, has there been a proliferation of small businesses working from their homes or working from their small villages and being able to penetrate the world market with their products? No. Who dominates the markets? The likes of Google, the likes of Amazon, these multi-country players, these global players control the global market. And over the last year, as small businesses and as the world has been shut down, the small players have been forced out and the big players have moved in to take their positions, to take their spots. It is a concentration of power. The monopolisation, which is what this is, when you have a crisis situation, same as what happened in the 1929 crash of 29 and 30, there was a consolidation of power and wealth then as well, because as small businesses get forced out, the big businesses can come in and take that business. Now we see there's more nefarious methods that are going on here, which I'll touch on as well. So if you have a look at what we see and what we see politicians proposing is more regulation. Now, the only problem with regulation is it costs more money to implement that regulation. So if you have a small business that's getting by, it's paying the bills just, but then they want to legislate and say, well, now you have to provide this piece of paperwork, that piece of paperwork. Like in cooking, I know because I've been in it for 30 years. It's gotten to the point now where it's less about cooking and doing your job and more about doing paperwork to satisfy that your paperwork is done. So when the health inspector comes, they don't look in your kitchen, they look in your paperwork to make sure your paperwork is up to date. You think I'm joking? I'm not joking. So quite often what you'll find is small businesses are having to hire someone else just to do paperwork, or putting extra pressure on their employees to do extra paperwork, just in order to stay operational. So it costs the business more money, not only in wages and time, but also compliance. In addition to these regulations that they're talking about, you know, in America I know, and around the world as well, the $15 minimum wage, right? Now that all sounds well and good, because people should be paid a living wage. We can all agree that. The problem is that you have small businesses that if they have to pay out more money in wages, they're either going to let staff go, or they're not going to be operational. You need to increase the money coming in the door in order to pay more money out to your staff. Now, why do we keep on need to increasing the minimum wage? Is because the money supply keeps on getting diluted with more money that they're printing because of a virus, apparently. A virus that 99.9% of people survive in this instance. But they've been printing money since 2007, 2008, the crisis then, the crash then, that was caused by the very same people that are making the rules. So you can see all these crashes, these shutdowns are a consolidation of wealth and power. And what do they want? They want you reliant on government. Why would I want to be reliant on government? So take that to a global scale, okay? Take it to a global scale where you say, okay, now the government's going to look after you. Where's the government going to get the money from? If they take away your right and your ability to earn money, that way there's no tax payable. How can you pay tax if you're not working, you're not earning any money? Where's the money going to come from for the government to keep on paying people? So globalisation, it suits the big players. It suits them very, very well because it means they're open borders. They can do whatever they want on a global scale. And who are they protected by? International groups, non-governmental organisations, NGOs, non-governmental organisations such as IMF, the International Monetary Fund. If you don't know the history of the IMF and the World Bank, then you really should look into it. Because what they do is they lend money to poor countries, developing nations they call them. They lend the money that they know they can't pay back, okay, for infrastructure programs that never get started, that never benefit the people that they're supposed to because of corruption in government, of course. So they lend us money that they can't pay back, and then when they default on the loan, right, like they did in Greece, when they default on the loan, they say, okay, now we're going to take your minerals and your resources of your country in order to pay back the loan. And it's deliberate. So you have these non-governmental international organisations like the IMF, the World Bank, who do exactly the same. And they start making policy that doesn't benefit the person, doesn't benefit you and me. It benefits the corporation because they are corporations in themselves. So you have corporations making rules for other corporations that don't benefit you. It's all about the bottom line, the profit. What's in it for them? Money. Now, we hear this altruistic line of, well, we shouldn't have borders to countries and everyone should be just able to travel freely. Look where we are right now. Officially, I'm not even supposed to leave my house, but you're talking about having no borders to countries. Of course, there's still borders to countries because you have disparate economic situations around the world. So I've been to Africa, I was in Nigeria. Even in Nigeria alone, there's disparate economic conditions. You have a very small proportion of the population who controls all the money and the resources of the country. The resources of the country that are underneath the ground, right? You have individuals who benefit from the resources of the country and not the people who live in that country. By all accounts, by all rights, Africa should be and everyone in Africa should be having an amazing life, because the minerals and the things that have been pulled out of the ground, the oil alone in Nigeria should pay for everyone to have houses and to have a good life where they can feed their families. But it's not that way. When you have these kind of organisations dictating policy, like WHO, there's a corporation, the UN, okay, and we all like to think that the UN is there for our benefit. As it stands right now, we're all told that nationalism is a bad thing. Okay? But is it? Is nationalism a bad thing? And I'm not talking about nationalism to the exclusion of everybody else. I'm talking about nationalism where your country, the landmass that you live on, and the people who live in it and contribute to that country should benefit from the work of that country. All of us. And should have opportunities within that landmass. So nationalism says that, you know, we're going to look after our people here, and if we do everything right, then we can benefit. When we benefit, we can help other countries to succeed as well. But is that the case? All the hundreds of millions and billions that have been poured into Africa to help end poverty, has it made any difference? Not a scrap. There's still just as many people living in poverty in Africa, in Asia. You know, it's all this money that's supposed to be donated, all this international funds that are supposed to help. Where does the money go? So this whole altruistic idea of we should have open borders, when you have disparate economic situations around the world, of course, people who are in a terrible economic position, like in countries in Africa and through Asia and, you know, a lot of the world, of course the people want to leave those countries and go to countries where it's economically stable and people can benefit from the economy there. So if we had open borders, where would everyone go? Places like America. Why wouldn't they? Of course they would, because there's opportunities there. There's no opportunities in their own countries. The other problem is that you have obviously politics is corrupt as hell, and it's all about robbing wealth from the citizen. But you also have what's not taken into account is culture. Each place that I've been in the world, I've travelled quite extensively. I love travelling. I love going to new places I've never been before, where I don't speak the language and trying to get by. But you have, each different place has their own culture. And to try and say that all borders should be open, people should be able to travel everywhere, well, they are. You can travel. You can travel as long as you've got a valid passport and, you know, all the requirements that go along with it for now, because we want cultures to be kept intact as they are. Like if I go to France, I want it to be French. There's certain things about the way that French people live that I love, and I want France to be France. And I'm not talking about not welcoming people from other cultures. Of course, it's wonderful to welcome people from other cultures, and that mingling of cultures is wonderful. But each country has their own culture. Each part of each country has their own cultures and their own traditions, and that should be kept intact. And the reason those countries and those cultures have those traditions in those places is because they were developed there for that area, for that place, because it's native to that place. And I'll give you an example, okay? Now, there's a tribe in Africa. Now, I'm guessing at this part, I'm pretty sure I'm right, but it's in a place called Timbuktu. True story. The Dogon tribe. Now, the Dogon tribe they were separated. They weren't part of Western culture. That was up until the 70s. I think there were some French researchers that went there to meet these people at the Dogon tribe, and they had information about the Sirius star system that no one, they told these French researchers that this is what they saw in this star system. There was twin stars or something like that, and up until the 80s or 90s we didn't even know that existed because we didn't have telescopes powerful enough to see it. But these Dogon tribe knew things about this celestial system that the Western people with their magnificent telescopes and all this kind of thing didn't know about. How did they know that? How did they know? This tradition and this knowledge was there in that place because it was passed down through the younger generations, and that knowledge was passed down because their culture was intact because it was where it was. Now, this is what I want you to understand about this: is it's not about being exclusive, because that's not what nationalism is. Nationalism welcomes people from other countries because they can benefit. Each culture that mixes benefits from the culture being added, and from the people coming from other countries. It benefits each country that they travel to. But with a disparate economic situation as we have right now, because of monopolised NGOs and monopolised international businesses such as Amazon and Google and these massive corporations, Coca-Cola, anybody that tries to get a foothold that is in opposition or is in competition to these companies, they either get bought out or they get put out of business. It's the monopolisation of these massive corporations, these international corporations, that makes me think that globalisation isn't going to benefit us, but more enslave us even more. With a massive monopolisation of these companies get even bigger. As I've said, there are pluses and minuses to everything. Of course there is. But I think what we have to do is recognise that these monopolisations exist. And we can't allow these. Look at, we've spoken about money before. Money talks. You want things done, money does everything. If money doesn't buy it, violence does. As evidenced by many Western governments, not the people, not you and I, but the governments have decided that they're going to go and rape and pillage in another country. Have a look at Africa. How is Africa divided up? Some are French colonies, some are Dutch, some are German, some are British. So when money doesn't work, violence does. We the people, us, you and me, have given so much power over to these corporations, over to these governments, and they've been completely unchecked. Our government's supposed to keep these kind of things in check. Our laws that aren't being followed are supposed to keep these things in check, and are they? Of course they're not. So when I hear globalisation, and globalisation's a wonderful thing, and there's the fourth industrial revolution, which will all be robotic, and the rest of us, well, we're just going to have to live on a universal basic income that you'll barely be able to get by. You'll never be able to get ahead. Because you'll be living in a nanny state that's relying on a government organisation, because they've allowed these massive international corporations to get to the point where they monopolise everything. From products that we use on a daily basis to the information that we are provided through the media, through social media, and through the intelligence organisations. Now, I've said before in one of my earlier videos that our social media is a feedback loop for these governmental and non-governmental organisations and intelligence agencies to gauge the response to actions that they're taking. Let me put it another way. Do you think that Mark Zuckerberg invented Facebook? Honestly. Let me tell you, he didn't. Facebook was a DARPA program, which was an intelligence agency program that started off as something called LifeLog. LifeLog was originally a DARPA program that wanted to gather all information on everybody in the world, including pictures, who their friends were, telephone, location, everything. Does that sound familiar? Sound like Facebook? Also, LifeLog was also closed down the same day that Facebook was started. But I suppose that's a coincidence as well. Everything that we've been told about the reality that we live in is a lie. The media organisations, the social media organisations, the politicians, the corporations, the non-governmental organisations are control mechanisms for you and I. And the feedback loop being, how are people feeling right now? You know, like in, they don't have to go door to door, they don't have to listen, well they do listen through everything that you say through your telephone, but all the feedback loops of the social media and things like YouTube, of course, are feedback loops to see what the gauge the response of the people. And then when people are gathering in groups to say no more, we're not going to live under this tyranny, then the story is spun to be that the people who are standing up against tyranny are the domestic terrorists. I mean, it is, you have to marvel at the genius of this beast, this virus. The virus. What do you think the real virus is? The virus is not what we're told. The virus is the very creeping thing that's creeping into our homes, into our lives, and every step of the way, in everything that we do, everything we say, everywhere we go, the media, every piece of information that we're fed is the virus. Look at this. Beautiful day on the beach. And there's no one here. Because they're fearful, they're scared. Why? Because a fearful, scared public is easier to control. How easy was it to get everyone to lock down? Fear! It's a powerful weapon. The virus is the very thing that's keeping us locked down. But not the virus that is, they're saying the coronavirus, the flu, which is what a coronavirus is, but the virus of this never-ending creeping rights taking away beast that grows by the day. There is a cure, believe it or not, both for COVID. You know, you remember back when Facebook said that hydroxychloroquine was bad? Now they're saying, oh, actually, we made a mistake. This is political. This is a consolidation of power. Now that's all fear. That's all, you know, globalisation is another cog in the wheel of these corporates, these governments, non-governmental organisation, this propagandist organisations. There is a cure for that too. What's the cure, I hear you ask? How are we going to get past this? If what I'm saying is true, is it? It's my opinion, remember? I can have an opinion still, for now, but how much longer could I have that opinion? There is a cure, and the cure has to be the exposure of the systems that we exist under. Okay? So the exposure of media. Is the media exposed for being propaganda? Of course it is. Every single day. Every single day we see it, every single day we watch it. And more, every single day they've proved to be liars. On and on and on it goes. I'll give you plenty of examples. You know, the weapons of mass destruction. They propagated this myth that there was weapons of mass destruction in Iraq to say that we needed to go to war. Lie. Complete, utter, total lie. Total. Russian collusion went on for how long? Nearly 3 years. That was proven to be a lie as well. The media have exposed themselves. Politicians, you know, look at the promises that the politicians have made. Joe Biden, well, we'll give you the 2,000 as soon as I get in. What has he done first? The most important thing we can do right now is impeach a president that's not president anymore. So the politicians have exposed themselves. The media have exposed themselves. The banks, the banks we've known have been corrupt forever and a day. The stock market's just been exposed as well. We've always known that the stock market is rigged, but now it's exposed for everyone to see. You know, how was the stock market reaching all-time highs when the world was shut down? You know, the exposure of the stock market with GME stock, the GameStop. Every system that we understand that controls us is now being exposed. Why would Jeff Bezos step down as being the CEO of Amazon? What about Bill Gates stepping down from Microsoft? What about the 13,000 other people, CEOs, the most high-profile people in the world stepping down from their positions? What does that mean? All the systems, everything, is exposing themselves for being exactly what they are: corrupted, and not fit for purpose. So, my message for you today is, while all seems lost, and in these dark times it seems like we're all lost. You can't question anything. I speak to people all the time and they contact me privately and say, I love what you're doing. I'm so proud of what you're doing, keep going. And the messages I get through YouTube as well, it's wonderful and it keeps me going. But I get people call me all the time and say, yeah, I love what you're doing, but I can't do what you do. I can't raise my voice. I can't post the things that you post on Facebook. I can't say what you say because I can't take the abuse that you're taking. Or my business will suffer. They can't handle people. But we're getting to that point where you have to choose a side. You know, it's like, do you want to live like this? Do you want to live under this tyranny? Do you want to live under rules where you can't do anything, you can't see your family, where you can't hug your grandma because you're told that you might kill her? You're not sick. If you're sick, you don't go and visit people anyway. You know, who goes to their grandma's house if they've got the flu? No one. Oh, but they're asymptomatic. How do you know you're asymptomatic? Oh, with a test that gives 90% false positives. Do you want to keep living like this? You might not be able to go out there and be public about what I'm saying and agreeing, because it might hurt your business, and I understand that. But there's coming a time where you're going to have to choose a side, because no one's going to do it for you. I'm sharing my information and my opinion, my thoughts and my feelings in hopes that it will help other people to come forward and say, I agree with you. You might not agree with everything I say, but you have to agree that questioning is still the most important thing we can do, because just blindly accepting information from organizations that have already proven to be liars and false prophets and propagandists, we have to get to that point where we say no more. And not comply with these ridiculous rules that the government's own website here in the UK, the high consequence infectious disease. Go and Google it. Google it for yourself, and it says clearly on the government's own website since last March, that there's no need for additional protections to be put in place because it's not dangerous. The flu's gone for some reason. You're not alone. I'm not alone. It's fine to question. We should. Now, I urge you all, you don't have to be out there in people's faces. You don't have to cause trouble with people. It's just a matter of starting a discussion and maybe injecting something into the conversation that makes people go, that's interesting. Like the high consequence infectious disease government website. Go and have a look. Go and Google high consequence infectious disease.gov.uk. That's all you have to do. All the information's there. Listen to some scientists and doctors that are saying different. Listen to some opinions that differ from what the mainstream media is telling you is the absolute truth. Share that information. If you like what I'm doing, share that, because it's non-invasive. You know, people can dismiss what I say, and that's fine. People have been dismissing me the whole time since I started speaking about this last January. You know, I didn't start my YouTube channel for about, another few months after, because I didn't think it would go on this long. Because most people are compliant. They just say, yeah, okay, well, I'll accept what I'm told, and I'll accept what I'm told to do. But then we're coming to that inflection point. We're coming to that point where you have to decide. In the course of the next month, we're going to see some things that will expose the system finally. And I want you all to be here with me when it happens. There's some information that I'll be providing in the next couple of videos that will also shatter everything that you think that you know. and I hope that you join me for those. So on that note, I will leave you from the beaches of Suffolk, from my family to yours. I wish you all a wonderful day. Go out there, look after each other, look after yourself, spread some love. Love you all. I look forward to seeing you real soon. Take care. Bye.